Okay, let's go.
So I am delighted to be here today. Sue, Lee, and I are connected at the heart. We have such similar passions in terms of mental well-being for ourselves, for our teams, and also for the clients we serve. We come from similar backgrounds. We work in different companies, but ultimately our passions and our desires for mental health and well-being are so aligned. And we're going to do a few introductions. So, Sue, do you want to introduce who you are? I'll introduce who I am. We'll then talk a bit about what led us together and what we're bringing to the sector for the Morton Michel clients hosted by MiniMe Mindfulness.
Yeah, hi Tessa. So I'm Sue Lee. I am the Partner Relationship Director for Morton Michel and actually across the wider retail division now as well. And yeah, and I know we'll talk a bit more about this in a minute, but wellness has always been important to me. And actually, the fact that we are now talking about it, it kind of has brought up the fact that it has always been important to me. And so having this chat today and talking about this a little bit more will be great.
Yeah, fabulous. And I'm Tessa. I'm the founder and CEO of MiniMe Mindfulness. So we teach children calm, confidence, and resilience through positive mindfulness, mindset techniques, and neuroscience. We blend it all together in a fun and innovative way. And what I've recognized from the last 5 years of working on the ground within schools, within nurseries, and communities is that the parents around the adults around the children are starting to wobble. And what I really felt like I couldn't ignore the requests for, we need something like this for us, or how do I support little Jimmy at home? And therefore we developed our proposition into supporting parents and teachers as well. Sorry, parents and teachers as well, and practitioners within the early years settings. So we've kind of developed based on our kind of knowledge of what's happening on the ground. And part of that journey, we've always been insured by Morton Michel. Of course, we're in the children's activity space, and they are the best at what they do within that arena. And part of that kind of journey, I was speaking to Gary Harrison around how we're developing, what we're doing. Because the brilliant thing about working with Morton Michel is they're very interested in you as a client and really understanding what we do. And when I mentioned this to Gary, he's like, okay, I know someone who we might want to speak to about the things that we can do for our own teams, because it's very, it's something that's dear to your heart. And I know, so you're on the board as well, aren't you, for representing the children's activity space, and you had a
Yeah,
similar light
so
bulb moment.
yeah, it was actually so yeah, absolutely. And thank you for those lovely things saying about Morton Michelle and absolutely we have always considered ourselves to be, because of our experience, to be a huge part of the sector. And in addition to sort of the insurance and making sure that that insurance is thorough, it's going to be there when it needs to be there, and actually it keeps innovating as well. But one of the most important things that drives us is that connection and doing the right thing by the sector. And what it was, I was actually on the board of the Childcare Expo Advisory Board, and I have the pleasure of doing that on a quarterly basis with some fantastic leaders across the sector. And I came off of that, and we at the same time we were thinking about what we're going to do at the Childcare Expo Coventry Summit. And so a few ideas were going around, but I came off of that, and I spoke to Gary, who put me straight in touch with you, spoke to Becky, spoke to Emma, and actually I said, listen, the feedback that I'm getting is that educators across the sector are exhausted, for various reasons themselves, whether it's their workloads, whether it's, the pressures on them in their daily lives, plus also dealing with parents that are also under more pressure. There is financial strains, everything, world is getting tougher. So educators are exhausted. So what is it, when we were looking at Expo and what Morton Michelle could do, what is it that we could do to actually provide some practical strategies for people to help, because we've had this discussion before, Tessa. It doesn't, wellness and well-being isn't about a token on a certain day of the week. It's something that is learned almost. You have to kind of have those behaviors within you and those habits. So that's how we met. And since then as well, talking about the children's activities sector, you've come along to the conference, the Ignite conference, and fantastic, and again, joining up communities is something as well that I think we're pretty good at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that actually you're talking at board level in those kind of rooms with people that are making decisions, and people that are really in the thick of the leadership within that, early years sector. And then coming out and thinking, do you know what? We need to do something for them. Obviously, a lot of the things we do are centered around the children, but what I truly believe is, and our kind of tagline is, little eyes are always watching, and you can't pour from an empty cup. And it's so true. So many people are trying to pour from an empty cup right now,
Yeah,
that we do need to give back to the leadership. We do need to give back to the educators. We do need to give back to the teachers and the practitioners that are in the sector that are having
yeah,
that daily influence on the children that are looking to them. And it's not always, children don't always just do what we say, they also do what we do. So if we walk into a room, we're feeling stressed, we're feeling down, we're feeling unhappy, that energy transfers.
absolutely.
And if
It
we
changes your language as well, doesn't it, with children? You might be, a bit more negative than you normally would be, or
yeah,
a bit more stressed, snappy, and all the rest of it. But absolutely, and those two things have lived with me. Little eyes are always watching, and hearing, I always say as well.
yeah,
They're always
absolutely.
listening to what's going on, so be careful. Um,
Careful
and
what you
actually,
say.
that empty cup thing, for me, and I've, thinking about this a lot recently, I think that's the thing that is is important to maintain, not maintaining the empty cup, keeping it full,
Yes.
but recognizing when it's going down and some of the things that you might need to do.
Yeah.
So whether that routine, and as I was saying, that habit is not a thing that, but you can start simple baby steps, can't you? But for me, it's always been about exercise. It's
Yeah.
always been about having a good diet, not like so strict that I'm not
Yeah.
enjoying my life. I love my food, I love my drink, everything like that. But I know when I've had too much of a good thing, and actually
Yeah.
balancing that, time with family, time with friends, making the decision that sometimes um, work might have to be put to one side
Yeah.
just for a little bit, because actually that's going to fill my cup and I'm going to come back
That's it.
so much stronger off the back of it. But other times, actually, work is going to have to take that first step. But I'm strong enough to deal with it because I'm maintaining that balance. It doesn't always
Yeah.
work. There are ups and there are downs, but I do think deep down it's lived with me. And I
Yeah.
think as you get older as well, you understand the importance of it and the influence that it has on your teams. And that is one of the most important thing in leadership. Everyone's feeling what you feel, everyone sees what you see, and it has an impact. So
Yeah.
sharing those well-being strategies with the team, and Tessa, you came in to Morton Michel to do
Yeah.
that. I
Did.
know was important, really important to Gary and myself and across the team. But yeah, it goes back to that, keeping that cup full.
Yeah. And do you know what? I loved coming in and meeting your teams, because you're absolutely right. Sometimes we talk about the leadership, and actually it's important to sort your own habits out. And actually you mentioned there as well, diet, exercise. They're the things that I think people are more commonly kind of drawn towards. And of course, exercise is great for mental health as well. So is diet. But one of the things that we need to kind of think about and add into the equation is self-awareness of what's happening up here, and actually
Yeah,
giving yourself that kind of those tools to be able to also look after your mental health in addition to your physical health. And it doesn't take, and first of all, is raising that self-awareness, kind of understanding what is happening in here, and in here. And when you recognize it, and knowing that some tools to be able to get you from where you are to where you want to be. Because I really believe there's lots of awareness, there's lots of mental health awareness days and weeks. And, when we're aware, what do we do? What's the practical top tips and techniques to use to be able to move us from where we are to where we want to be? And that's what we really pride ourselves with at MiniMe Mindfulness. And for adults, our kind of our kind of overarching companies is mindset mentors, and that's what we do. We mindset mentor children and adults, but effectively the underlying techniques are the same, just the way
Yeah,
we articulate them and deliver them is different. So we loved coming in to see your team, and what I love about working with adults as well is we don't measure the children, because that's not what mindfulness and mindset techniques are all about. Of course, you can the people that work with them regularly can see the developments and the changes and the positive outcomes. But what I loved about working with your team is we can say, look, scan this QR code, let us know your starting point. It's all confidential, but just really think about, where are you at right now? And then we did a 2-hour workshop, which basically taught some of the techniques and the skills. And then we said, let us know where you are now in terms of your confidence to be able to improve or manage your own mental well-being. And the results were staggering. It went from maybe 45% of the room felt confident around where they were, and ended up after 2 hours around 85%. There was a huge swing in terms of the ability to be able to manage and support their own mental well-being, and that was huge, and a real joy to help to bring people on that journey, just to teach some really basic techniques. And I love the comments as well, that some people said, if I hadn't have been forced to take this 2 hours out of
it
my day,
drove people into it.
yeah, I probably wouldn't have done. And I love it, because we all feel the same, don't we? We're like, oh gosh, I've got to do this, but it's not
I
going to
know.
move the needle on my work stuff. So therefore,
No, but it
I'm not
does.
going to do it.
That's
But
my
it
point. It
does.
does. It
Yes, that's
absolutely
it.
does.
So coming back to
Um,
what you said, it's totally right around, I'm taking time out, and the gratitude that people had for your company, your leadership, for actually partnering with us to say, oh gosh, right, they've really invested in me right now. Not about the business, not about, but the overall effect is
Absolutely.
positive. But it's that investment in people, I think, that we often
Absolutely.
miss.
It's just probably a good place to mention, actually, that Morton Michel were a finalist in the diversity and inclusion category at the What's on For Awards last week, and so
Amazing.
that's massively due to the work that Gary has led within the team, and so I'm just a shout out there, by the way.
Yeah.
But just go to your point. I've still got members of the team that speak to me about your session and how it's changed habits, how it's changed awareness. And and through the work that we did at Expo, we talked about, you came to me and talked about that offer, didn't you, for
Yeah.
our nursery clients. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, do you want to tell everyone about that, Tessa?
Absolutely. So Sue and I obviously clearly very passionate about supporting mental well-being across the sector, not just for the kids, who are obviously what we're all here for, but also supporting the adults around them as well. So we spoke and we said, look, okay, for Morton Michel clients, let's do something really special, really unique. That's really a real game changer for them, for their teams, for the leadership, for their teams, for the educators, for the children, for the parents. Let's look at this let's kind of take a step back and look at the communities that we serve, and not just the end user. So for Morton Michel clients, we are a franchise, MiniMe Mindfulness, and we deliver lots of amazing in-person courses across the country where we have presence. But that's not everywhere yet. So where we don't have a presence, if we don't have a presence within your area, we have developed the nursery license. What that enables us to do is to accredit your nursery with teaching MiniMe mindfulness superpowers to the children, the preschool children within your setting. So we will teach you how to become a kids mindfulness teacher. We will give you all the props, all the tools, all of our lesson plans, everything we've developed over the last 5 years, and it's all CPD accredited, and you get that to use within your nursery setting to impact the children. If you purchase the nursery license by the 31st of December, this is the special offer. We
Mm-hmm.
will give free access to all of your staff staff and all of your parents to MiniMe time, which is our adult course. A little bit of you time to top up your cup so that you are starting your day full to overflowing, which means that your staff and your parents are impacting the little eyes that are watching them positively, but also they're looking up because they're looking after their own mental well-being. So that's our offer. It's huge, it's extremely generous, we know, but we are we're really committed to creating positive well-being across the sector. So we are delighted that Morton Michel and MiniMe Mindfulness have joined forces on this, and we are able to offer it to your clients, Sue. So thank you for, linking arms with us, seeing the value, and being that company that really does care, because I can feel it. Your clients can feel it. I'm sure your team are feeling it, and together we can raise calm, confident children and fill our own cups in the meantime. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Sue, for joining me today.
Thank you, Tessa.
It's been a lovely, it's always a delight chatting to you. I love it. I love the you're definitely a business for good, and I feel very privileged to be partnered with such an organisation. So if how to get in touch, we're going to pop some links below. So click on the link, find out about the nursery license, see if it's going to be a good fit for you. You can all instantly purchase the nursery license, and we will be in touch to help you with the implementation of that. And we will handhold you all the way through the process. Or you can book a call with me in my calendar. We can have a one-to-one chat, find out what you're looking for. We can tell you how we can help you, and then we can map out the journey so that you can become a MiniMe Mindfulness accredited nursery, which is hugely aligned with Ofsted as well. They're looking for companies that are really invested in mental well-being, to kind of credit them with those outstanding badges. And we know that that's what parents are searching for as well. So let's all link arms together and let's do this. And remember, 31st of December is the cutoff for that free mental well-being as well for parents and teachers. Thank you so
Excellent,
much.
Tessa. Thank you.
Speak soon.
See you. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye bye.